Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in KITZUR HILCHOS SHABBOS, and we're starting a new malacha today. Malacha is TOCHEN, which is grinding. Mahusa malacha, the essence or the way in which this malacha, this prohibited activity, plays itself out. Acha shebiru atzrois min hatavua, after they would separate the rocks and the pebbles and the like from the tavua, from the produce, from the wheat. The next thing they would do was they would grind it. In the Mishkan there was techina, there was grinding. They would mash and crush the samanunim, this we'll call them over here the spices and the herbs. They would mash them because they had to make different colors out of them for the adorning of the curtains and the like in the Beis HaMikdash. They needed to be able to dye the wool, so they would take these spices or these herbs and they would crush them to be able to make them into colors. Not only is a person chayiv, is he obligated for crushing, pounding things like seeds and herbs, because when you crush them and you pound them, you make them into separate entities. Like we know, you're not allowed to crush and to break spices because you make them into different parts. Even to chop and to cut vegetables, for example, onions, dak, you want to mince your onions very fine on Shabbos. That's nichlav v'meleches teichen. That itself is included in this prohibition of teichen, of grinding, because you're making it very, very small. For example, he writes, just like when you want to mash the apples before you actually cook them, but if you cook them very, very well, then he says it's permissible to mash them more. So too when it comes to potatoes, you can be chayav over there as well for teichen, for grinding. You have to be very careful the way in which you mash them. So too when it comes to crushing bananas, the same thing is true. It's similar. It's going to be included in the prohibition of teichen, of grinding. And that's what we're going to have to see over here. How are you going to be able to mash your potatoes for mashed potatoes? How are you going to be able to mash the banana to give to your child? So on and so forth. That's the halachas that we're going to learn. But anything that you're converting into something small, mashed, chopped up finely and the like, that's all within the realm of teichen, of grinding, and we're going to have to be careful in the kitchen to know how to do it. Otherwise, a person could be making a basic salad for lunch or for dinner, and they are violating the laws of teichen. They could be feeding their baby and violating the laws of teichen. They can try to make some mashed potatoes for the gravy that they're going to serve that night with the meal, and they could end up violating the prohibition of teichen, and therefore we have to learn the halachas to know how to do things in the right way. Have a wonderful day.